KOAT Action 7 News.
Sheriff John Allen has asked the Albuquerque Police Department to investigate a recent shooting involving one of his deputies. Law enforcement experts tell us that's unprecedented.
Tonight in a Target 7 investigation, we learn why the sheriff and DA are distancing themselves from this one. Here is John Cardinelli.
This is Deputy Joshua Mora. In 2017, he fired 7 shots into a vehicle, killing 2 men. The case cost the county $3.3 million. Now, another investigation is being conducted into a shooting after Mora shot another man in the back of the head.
The plain fact of the matter is that Mr. Jim was murdered by Deputy Mora.
This is District Attorney Sam Bregman talking about Deputy Joshua Mora back in 2017 before he became the county's top prosecutor. Bregman at the time was representing the family of Martin Jim, who was riding in the passenger seat of this stolen truck that led police on a 20-mile pursuit. Jim and the driver of the vehicle were shot and killed by Deputy James Mora.
There is absolutely no excuse under any theory of law that could justify what Deputy Mora did. It's called murder.
Then Sheriff Manny Gonzalez maintained that Mora fired because he thought the driver of the truck was going to run over another deputy. Mora was the son of Gonzalez's undersheriff Rudy Mora. Gonzalez fought back at Bregman's comments.
Whether he's thinking or manufacturing or fabricating these allegations, there's no factual basis behind them.
The family reached a multi-million-dollar settlement. A special prosecutor in Socorro County said he could not prove the shooting was not justified. There was no lapel video of the shooting, and Mora eventually returned back to work. This is Mora last month. Now a member of the Sheriff's Department SWAT team, he's what they call the point man, the first person in line to take a shot at a suspect. And he did, hitting this man, Joseph Ramos, in the back of the head. Sheriff John Allen immediately requested APD to be the lead agency of the investigation.
The office of sheriff is a political office, and you want to be careful not to take too many of these cases for whatever reason and give them away to other agencies, because you have a responsibility to your agency, whether it's good or it's bad, to investigate those cases.
Former Bernalillo County Sheriff Darren White says he does not recall the Sheriff's Department ever asking for another agency to take the lead on one of its shooting investigations.
I can see where he is concerned about any appearance of conflict of interest, and the best thing to do then, in the interest of this deputy who is there currently, is to give it to another agency so that whatever the outcome is, it's not viewed as retaliation because Rudy Mora was his political opponent. And so it's probably the right decision.
Target 7 has learned that Allen was one of the lead investigators in the 2017 shooting. And when he recently ran for office, he said he was, quote, pushed out and targeted because of the incident. He was vocal about Mora's father being involved in the investigation of his son.
We want to make sure that we're transparent.
This is Allen days after being sworn into office. During his campaign, he did say that he would ask other agencies to investigate his shootings if he felt there was a conflict.
Immediately it builds trust, and then at that time it restores trust, and we want to make sure that we keep that trust with the community.
Most recently, Joshua Mora fired a shot at this man who was armed with a gun sitting in a car. APD said he told investigators he saw the man point the gun at himself and other deputies. 2 other deputies standing near Mora gave similar statements. DA Bregman would not comment on the case. A spokeswoman tells us he's asked for a special prosecutor from Lincoln and Otero counties to review the most recent shooting. If you recall, Rudy Mora ran against Allen in the Democratic primary for sheriff, and when Mora lost, he supported Allen's Republican opponent. For Target 7, I'm John Cardinelli.
Mora has returned to work. If you have a tip, call the Target 7 tip line at 505-884-6347 or email newstips@koat.com.